Welcome to Redvee TV as we continue our build-up to the 2023 season. We're getting through these thick and fast now. And with 30 days to go, it is the man, the myth, and the future potential legend. It's our number 30.
It's George Delaney. And George is proudly sponsored by ASW Solicitors.
ASW Solicitors, based in the Baltic Triangle in the beautiful historic city of Liverpool. They pride themselves on being a specialist firm, assisting clients with a wide range of corporate and personal disputes, as well as advising on various issues and areas of tax-based litigation. I'm honest, I'm hoping I won't need them services, but I'm sure there are plenty of corporate companies that do.
Yeah, potentially so, David.
Another new sponsor on board for the club this year, Kev. Somebody in corporate's doing the job very well indeed.
Yes, good on him. Good on him.
And they've got a star, haven't they? A potential future star. Young George, gorgeous George, as he is known amongst his family.
And in your house now.
And in my house now. Listen, this lad has the potential to be a future superstar, and I don't want to build him up too much, but everything you're hearing coming out of the club, if he keeps his head screwed on and he works hard, he's probably going to have all the tools in the box, isn't he?
Yeah. As you say, and I think we're going to use the word potential an awful lot here, but potentially the most exciting forward to come through the system for a couple of years. Front rower wise, probably since Matty Lees. And I'm not turning around saying Matty Lees is a like he kicks through or he's offloading the ball left, right, and centre or anything like that. But just someone who you can just see understands the rigours of the first team and has what it takes to get there. Once again, we'll always say we need to let the lad develop, and that's as a fan base. He won't smash through defences all the time. But it's all part of the learning process. I'm lucky enough to know George's dad, and I've spoken to him and George on numerous occasions. And George just strikes me as a lad who has his feet firmly on the ground, and that is definitely going to stand him in good stead. Like
you, Kev, another member of the Witness Mafia invading the town.
I wish you wouldn't say that I was from Witness.
Scouts, Kev, as the comments on our videos have been saying.
I'm not a Scouser either. Yeah. He is. Listen, unfortunately, due to the decline of Witness as a professional rugby league club with their academy, we're reaping the benefits by bringing some of their lads over the border to us. It's not to say we wouldn't if Witness was still kicking about as a top flight club. But yeah, he's another one. There's plenty of the Witness contingent in the squad, in the 34-man squad. But it doesn't matter where he comes from. If he's good enough, he will be putting that shirt on a couple of times this season.
Are we quite blessed at the moment? Obviously, Witness have essentially become a community club, and obviously with them being located between St Helens and Warrington, and two professional rugby league, Super League clubs either side of him, and one hasn't won anything for 65 years, and one of them wins trophies, that we're lucky enough that we are the feeder town now for Witness.
Well, Witness are the feeder town for us, surely. But yeah, you know what, you've probably got that kind of that production line that's been going on.
We're the feeder town. Sorry, Kev. We're the feeder town for Witness because we're building our props up over there, sending food that way.
Yes, very true. But because we've done this for a couple of years now, and because people see that there is that progression to first team, you can see why lads are willing just to make, I know it's only a short journey, but the short journey across and come up to us because they see that progression. To not joke about Warrington for a second, I think they've now realised that having a base of lads who come through the academy is good for your team. You've only got to look at the most successful clubs around, and that is exactly what they do. And Warrington have realised this, albeit probably 15 years too late, if not more, that they need to just keep that steady stream of lads coming through. And the reason I picked that for Warrington, not to go off on one, is they've had plenty of time where they've been kicking about around the top four of Super League and just not done it, have they? But anyway, back to George. Listen, I'm made up that he plays for us because he looks like he's got all the tools. He looks like he's got the personality to push on this season, and let's not look too far into the future, but push on this season, make a couple of appearances first team, potentially go out, and we keep mentioning Jill Reg and going out on loan and things like that, playing reserves, keeping his head down, doing the hard work, because we saw him in the Academy Grand Final, 80-minute performance, kept on putting his hand up for the ball. I think he kept on thinking he was going to be brought off so he could have a rest, but he kept on going and kept on going. And it just looks like he's got that attitude that even though he was looking, thinking, oh, it must be me coming off next, he'd still put his hand up and take a run in. And that's the attitude. And I put that down, as I say, lucky enough to know his dad. He's got a good family round him who will keep his feet on the ground. And as long as things go well for him and he doesn't pick up any injuries or doesn't kind of deviate from the path he's on, George Delaney could well be the next superstar forward at Saints.
Yeah, you talk about that Academy Grand Final when we suffered that heartbreaking defeat right at the end to Leeds. I have to say that was the game of the year last year. Even in defeat,
it was fantastic.
It was an amazing game that was. Pleasure to be there for it. Shame we didn't come out on the right side of it. But to see a couple of potential young superstars in Saints ranks, and probably the same for the Rhinos as well coming through. We know Martin watches our videos, big Rhinos fan. He's got plenty to look forward to in the next couple of years with some of them lads coming through as well. But George, massive 2022. Obviously, he played Academy Origin, played in the Grand Final in the Academy, and then finished the year off with an England Knights call-up, which he must have felt like he was pinching himself. I think it came out a little bit out of left field, but probably just goes to show how highly he's probably valued in the game at the moment. And he is. It's not just in St. Helens, his name's going to be out there.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, though. We keep on building the kind of way that John Bennison's made his way into the first team. George Delaney's another one who they're talking about him in good terms, but also dipping him into actions such as the England Knights. And he's doing it a kind of different way, but could also be a blueprint that lads shouldn't just turn around and go, well, I might get a couple of games here and there. If you're good enough, and I know availability will be a big thing, but if you're good enough, you'll get called up because they want to have a look at you. They want to turn around and say, well, actually, what can this kid do for us here? So, as I say, I'm gonna keep banging on that he could well be the most exciting forward. He could well be the most exciting forward we ever bring through, or we bring through in the Super League era. It's just up to him to put that hard work in, keep his feet on the ground, and keep signing deals at Saints as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Alex Walmsley is 33 years of age in April. George Delaney is 14 years younger. Alex Walmsley is still at essentially the peak of his powers, isn't he? Yeah. George won't get to that stage for potentially his best for potentially another 10, 11 years. I'm just hoping that we're sat here a little bit greyer, a little bit older in definitely 12, 13 years, and have 12 or 13 years worth of these player previews to be looking back on and obviously seeing that developments. But listen, it is potential. I know we've spoke a lot, but things can go sideways very, very quickly for young players if their head doesn't say screwed on. I think Saints have got the right platform and the right environment for it to flourish. I don't think anybody at Saints will allow anybody to get above the stations. And
Correct.
to be fair, as you say, the family. You spoke to George, and his head will be kept firmly on the ground. So we look forward to seeing his development.
Yeah, definitely. Saints will manage him perfectly as well. Saints won't just throw him into a 12-game season as well. I'd expect a couple of appearances off the bench from him. I'd expect him to go out and play a couple of games on dual reg. I would expect to see him more in the reserves, where they're not putting his body through an awful lot of work. I can't see him being put through like a 25-game season. I can't see him being put in and I mean that across all levels. It'll be we're going to bring you in. You might have 2 or 3 appearances off the bench. You might play most of the reserve games. You might play 1 or 2 on dual reg to see how you go. I can see him, as I say, managing him, and hopefully that will aid his progression.
Absolutely. Right, another one done and dusted, Kev. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow. You don't have to subscribe. You're up here.